You know, it's a pretty rare sight to see our main male character wake up with a female college student right next to him in his bed and not slapping him and calling him a pervert because, of a misunderstanding or because of her own fault. I respect stuff like that. I really do. And, just seeing stuff like that makes me, actually enjoy Granblue a lot. Now, I know many might not care about what I just talked about because many might not be bothered by stuff like that, but it's little cliches like that over the years of watching so much anime or reading a lot of manga that, I kind of get sick of stuff like that. And just seeing how that did not happen in this episode, I was like, job well done, Granblue. Job well done. I'm pretty pleased with what you gave me this week. Now, for the first time, or actually the second time, we really got to experience diving in Granblue. Even though this is a diving series, this is the first true time we've actually experienced our characters, or our main male character, going diving. And gotta say, I like the theme of this episode. It was the standard stuff we've gotten used to the past couple episodes, but I do like the diving aspect of it, and I do hope that this series does expand on that more, and, we get to see more of that, how the under the sea is, of how diving life is. I like more of that, but I do have to admit, I do love the college school life and stuff when it comes to the environment of this series. Now, speaking of which, I do want to talk about how organic Granblue feels, okay? Now, I know that the series is an over-exaggeration of college life in some aspects, especially like the strip, rock, paper, scissors and stuff. There's a lot of exaggeration. I'm fully aware of this. But I do like how it feels organic, though. Like, these characters coming together, partying, having fun, just drinking, eating, going to club meetings, whatever, trying to fund their club. Just seeing these little interactions with our characters throughout this episode. I'm like, you don't see this often. You don't see, like a series feel this organic. Usually things cut from one scene to the other, and it's just like it's clear cut. You don't really have these filler scenes that expand upon these slice of life elements like what we had in this episode. What I'm kind of trying to get into, or kind of explain a little bit better, is the fact that seeing how they had to enter a beauty pageant to be able to fund their club was pretty entertaining, because this is stuff that actually is done in real life. Funding for clubs, they need to figure out a way to get money to be able to do club events and all of that. And so seeing how, you had the male's beauty pageant to the female's beauty pageant, I thought that was just pretty funny. It had a lot of good comedy to it, but it also was realistic because, people would go probably that far to fund their club if they needed to get something done. Now, in terms of actual content within this episode, number one, we get a little bit more details on diving and how our main male character, is trying to learn how to, feel safe underwater. As we know from the last episode, he couldn't really swim, and also on top of that, he was kind of scared of going underwater, and he couldn't really get that out of his head, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you ever really swam a lot, and if you never went diving, obviously it's normal to feel a little bit scared or afraid. I mean, I know I would, even though I know how to swim. I was born and raised in Florida and all that. I've been on the beach, I've, went swimming in the ocean. If I was to try to dive, that's probably a whole new experience. That's something I've never experienced. I'd probably be very frightened. I'd be scared if I did something like that. So, seeing our main male character afraid of something like that, I don't hold it against him whatsoever. And I was very happy or pleased to see the man overcome that fear he had in this episode. And it didn't just happen like, this. It didn't just, he didn't snap out of it and the fear was gone. It took a lot of, prep and a lot of, pep talk just to get this man to understand that everything is okay. He will be fine if he tries to learn how to dive. For instance, when he was putting on the gear and he was trying to dive underwater, he just couldn't breathe. He said he couldn't breathe even though he had the air tank on him, which, that is normal, because even though you have the air tank on you, you should be able to breathe underwater because you have it attached to you, an oxygen tank. Doesn't mean you're automatically going to be an expert and be able to dive, because you have to have a technique to be able to breathe. You got to understand to calm down. You got to also understand that, you can breathe. And normally your mind, when you're underwater, it's like, don't breathe, don't breathe, don't breathe, hold in the oxygen. It's like you're having to rewire your mind just to deal with a situation. And that's what our MC had to deal with in that moment, rewire his own mind mind just to be able to breathe the oxygen through his oxygen tanks. So that's, like I said, I like that. I like the element of this, episode quite a bit, like the theme of it and what it was trying to do. Now, anyways, besides all of that, we also have the stuff going on with, Chisa, our main female character and all that, and she's growing on me. I really like Chisa a lot, but I have to say, she's kind of losing out to the new female character that's been introduced. The purple-haired girl that was introduced. I don't know really how to pronounce her name, so forgive me. But basically, Chisa, I'm growing a little bit fond of her. I actually have a friend that's been watching Grand Blue on the side I've been talking with and all that, and he tells me he doesn't really like Chisa because she's that typical tsundere type character. And I tell him, like, yeah, she is kind of like that, but I do like her character. She's not that big of a jerk, and the way her character is, she's not as bad as the typical, character type that she is. She's not as bad as some. She actually is very mellow, in my opinion, and so I like Chisa's character. She's starting to grow on me, and I think her voice actor is doing a fantastic job with just expressing her character, and I've actually seen a lot of people talk about that, especially the manga readers of Grand Blue, letting me know that the voice actors really fit these characters, and many, when they were reading the manga, they imagined them to have these type of voices. So I'm glad to hear something like that from the manga readers, letting me know that, just they're really enjoying this series, it's doing a proper adaptation, they're liking the voice acting and all that. That's just really nice news, because this was a series that many were looking forward to for a while, and I'm just glad to see it's being very successful, and many are falling in love with, Grand Blue. Now, anyways, let's also talk about the situation with, the new female character that was actually introduced, the one with purple hair. I like her a lot. Personality-wise, I love how she interacts with the main cast. I want more of her. Hopefully this isn't like, a character that's just there but doesn't pop up much at all. I do hope she's relevant because I loved her personality in this episode, especially that scene when she talks to our main MC. I'm into both that you had in your room, the decorations, and I'm like, oh my god. So, I mean, I loved her character a lot. I want more of her. Hopefully this isn't the last time we see of her. And I especially love the implied fan service with her when she's, like, talking about the Band-Aids. I'm like, yo, what? So, I mean, yeah, Grand Blue, it's a pretty quality series. I'm glad I started watching this. I'm glad so many of you recommended me to watch this over, the past year or so since, it was announced. Thank you so much for that, by the way. But, I think I'm going to end this video here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, be safe. Chibi out.